Hits and Crits. This video is brought to you by Trading Goblin.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to our first video called On Target, where Randall and I will target a specific topic, which is on top of our heads right now. So today we will target the topic of the latest reveals of units, along with the latest patch on the Golden Company Swordsmen. That's for today. So Randall, thanks for being here again.
Thanks for inviting me, Chris. Good to be here. Sure.
So let's jump right in to have that as short as possible, that video. So let's take a look at the patch on the Golden Company Swordsmen. So Sundering got removed, but they got the Mastercraft Longsword got rerolls now with all each time they attack. Adaptive style didn't change. So Randall, what do you make of it? What does that do with that patch?
So Mastercraft Longsword changed from Sundering to rerolls. And we were talking about it, you were showing me numbers, and if you look at the numbers, really it's more or less negligible, the change between rerolls and Sundering, with a slight, you could say a slight, almost a slight buff, right, to rerolls versus Sundering.
Yes.
A very minuscule buff. The thing that gets me the most, well, there's two things. So I'll just say, first off, I don't think the patch to these guys went far enough or went in the right direction. But I'll say that losing Iron Resolve affects their defensive stats. So if rerolls and Sundering are roughly equivalent, then offenses stayed generally the same. They took a defensive nerf. But I'll say, kind of from the fluff side and from the kind of nerd side, I was a little peeved that they took Iron Resolve from these guys, because I'm a Golden Company fan, and I was under the impression, just from the couple of Golden Company units we have that are infantry units, that Iron Resolve was a part of the Golden Company's personality. So seeing that get taken away, it kind of throws that out the window. I think the easiest and probably the most effective way to nerf these guys would have been to just turn the order from lasting the whole round into lasting just the turn, or doing something with adaptive style. But I think they maybe didn't want to do that because adaptive style was just changed in season 3, and it would have looked like they would have, that they maybe made some kind of big mistake with adaptive style. So I'm not a huge fan of the change. It does weaken them a little bit, but not enough, I don't think, to change the kind of list building calculus for most factions. What do you think, Chris? Do you see them maybe now going into other things more than before, or how do you think these guys look now?
Yeah, I totally agree. When you read the article Simon pushed out, it was basically saying we see only Golden Company across the board in tournaments, and we want to negate that or make that less. And I think, as you said, they didn't go. It didn't go into the right direction. They didn't do enough to get them off the board, especially when you still think about certain commanders attachments you can put in there. We talked about it. Gregor is an obvious thing, right? Not being weakened, 2 auto wounds, Thundering
gives them Sundering back.
Gives them Sundering back, and the rerolls makes them in Gregor. They're even worse than before, dealing out
worse as in better.
Worse for your opponent.
Crazier.
I'm mostly on the receiving end, so worse than before, because it almost deals out 2 wounds more on average than before with Gregor. So same on the defensive side. If you put Uller in, or Adam Marbrand, they get Iron Resolve back, and Hardened even, right? And Reinforcement in Uller's case. So this unit is as defensive as it was before. So in the end, what I want to say is, I think there needs to be another change at some point through whatever season 4 or in the upcoming months. They didn't go far enough with the Golden Company. That's it. On the other end, if you look at them isolated, I think it's a good thing that they can't do both anymore really good. As you said, they got a nerf defensively. So if they choose the attacking style, the aggressive style,
the offensive style,
the offensive style, if they go for that, they will lack a lot of deep. I mean, that was before the same, but now it's even worse for them, right? So that's a good thing. But yeah, again, didn't go far enough with Golden Company to reduce them out of the lists. So,
yeah, and if anything, they're even. I think most people were taking them for the defensive order anyway, and now they're incentivized even more to make them just to shove them in people's face, because you're just always re-rolling now. So you're almost as tanky as you were. So you're in a protracted melee, you're still going to be a 3-up to save armor wise, and you're going to be a 4-up to save morale wise, which is still quite good.
Yeah.
And now you're just going to re-roll all the time. So you're going to be really difficult. You're just going to be a pain when you're actually engaged with stuff now. So I just think it was a miss as far as I think it was a nerf. It was a slight nerf, but I don't think it went far enough.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so that rounds it up for the latest patch. Let's go to the reveals, and we kick things off with the Darkstar Retinue. So Darkstar Retinue, the first thing I want to say about them is first thing that really struck me is there's no synergy between them and Darkstar. So that's really awkward for me, right? Because when you look at his tactics cards and what he does, his attachment does, there's no real synergy, and I don't really like that happening. Like in general, not saying that's unplayable or I don't want to play them. I really like the sculpts. I like the artwork. I like how they are in general, but no synergies with Darkstar, and therefore I think in Martell especially there is too much. There are too many competitors in Martells for that 7-point unit, because you could easily switch them out with Golden Company, with the Royal Guard, with the skirmishes. So I do not see where their place is, what they are trying to achieve in a Martell list. I think there is a good potential with Aero Hota, right, as a commander. I like that, or maybe with what's her name, Obara San. Maybe that works well with the overrun and stuff, and they're quite fast. So I like him in general, but still, there's really a lot of competition within the faction for such a 7-point unit.
Yeah, I don't think they do what Martell generally wants to do, and it does also annoy me. Again, I'm gonna stand on my nerd soapbox and agree with you that it is annoying that they have Darkstar in their name. The flip side of the card says the personal guard of Sir Gerald Dane, but there is no retinue, actual, it's called Darkstar Retinue, but it's not even his unit. I wish they would have done like a slightly overtuned version of this that was just for him. That would have been cool. But as they are, you have to compare them to other units in faction. Like you mentioned, other 7-point units in faction that are generally going to be taken over them. There's also the Starfall Outriders, the 6-point cavalry unit that also has a similar melee profile, similar defensive stats. I think they maybe save on a 6+ morale rather than a 5+ morale, but have the same scimitar ability. But those Outriders have a cav maneuver. They have rally cry, so instead of fueled by slaughter and healing themselves, the Outriders can heal other units, which is great. And overrun is situationally, positionally kind of dependent. Sometimes you don't want to overrun. You kill something, and if these guys are on 1 rank or something, you may want to just maneuver backwards. So overrun is baked into their cost, and you're not always going to want to use overrun. So I just think they're maybe an overcosted unit that doesn't have really a big role, like a clear defined role. And again, that would maybe be different if there was a Darkstar like Geraldine specific version in the box.
Sure.
That's maybe something they can do down the line. That's an super easy fix for them to do in a future patch. But right now, I don't.
You mean if
see
attached to Darkstar? Or
yeah,
then
like make
they
an alternate version of the card. Yeah,
Sure.
specific to Geraldine.
Specific to him. Yeah, that would be cool, right? Because that was what I was expecting. That there is something you can really make use of his commander. I mean, he's really strong in skirmishes. Everyone knows that, right? There's that infamous list with 2 skirmishes, and we see it performing really well. But I was really hoping for a melee driven unit with him that could work well too, but that's not happening, or at least for now. So so I think that's it on the Darkstar Retinue. So let's go to the Stony Shore Pillagers. What do you make of them?
So again, I'm still on my soapbox. I'm going to get down off of my soapbox after this unit, but so these guys are more defensive than Blacktide Chosen. They do not have a shield. They do not have the heavy armor of Blacktide Chosen. They're wearing the same armor that trappers wear, but they are more defensive. I'm not gonna say it anymore. I got it out. That's
it's fine. It's fine, man. It's fine.
They're wearing jackets and pants, and they are more defensive than Blacktide Chosen. I'm gonna leave it there, and now we'll move on to the stats.
Yeah, let it sink in. Let it sink in.
But as far as these guys go, I'm not sure what they want to do. So they're obviously a pillage generating unit. They're not an offensive unit, because the only offensive keyword they have is precision, which is incredibly unreliable. So they have precision, but you can't rely on it. So I almost just consider it not there.
Yeah.
And then looking at their other abilities, when they get hit, they gain a pillage token, and after they complete a melee attack, they can consume a pillage token to heal 2 wounds. And consuming a pillage token is something that Greyjoy players do not want to do unless it is for a very powerful ability, because gaining pillage is not something that is always very easy for them to do. And consuming a pillage token for 2 wounds on a unit that isn't a killer, isn't a unit that's killing things, is not really something I don't think want to do as a Greyjoy player.
Yeah.
There's ways you can build lists with these guys in it. You want to keep units with divide the spoils around them, so that you can take tokens off of them and move them around. You can put them in a Eric Ironmaker list and put Eric Ironmaker in them, so this unit has divide the spoils, and that he gains pillage tokens also naturally from the bag zone. So you can use them as a pillage battery unit, but then they're 5 points. They're not killing things. So I'm not bowled over with them. There's some attachment ability you could see, putting them in a unit with Dagmar for battle scars, so they can actually get some kind of a keyword every time they get hit. Make them more tanky by putting a drown prophet in them. But I don't know. What do you think, Chris? I know you're not a super, you're not a Greyjoy player. But what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I played Greyjoys like I don't know 2-3 times in my life. So, but still, I see them quite often against me. And a big thing I see with this unit, or what it really lacks is, or the problem I see with this unit is that your opponent can play around it, right? It's only getting those pillage if you attack it, and this unit is not causing too much trouble or threat, so I have to attack it. So a lot of times I think you can play around them really well. So same problem I have with say Stark Bowman with the Warden, right? In general, I like it, but if you have an experienced, seasoned player, you will just play around this threat bubble. And same here. If that thing is pushed forward, I think I will just play around it, attack other units, and just leave it be, right? And if he attacks me, then bad for you, right? A lot of times.
Yeah.
So,
and if a player, and if a Greyjoy player is bringing this unit, that this is part of their pillage generating
plan strategy.
Yeah, and a Greyjoy player always wants to have. They always build a list with a pillage generation plan in mind. You know, because if you don't have a plan on how you're going to get pillaged, then you're in a bad place. So if you see these guys coming, and you know this is probably part of your opponent's pillage generating plan, maybe you just ignore them, and now your opponent, that part of the battlefield for your opponent, is going to be starved for pillage, or more starved for pillage.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, not super. Yeah, I'm not all that jazzed about them. But I could be wrong. Like you said, you know, if people see something we don't see, please feel free to comment.
Obviously, yeah, you always have to try it out, right? You have to see him in action. You have to, like, all the stuff we say, it's just our like initial gut feeling on what we do,
speculation and
exactly. We need to see some attachments. We need to see some play. But what we're both more excited about is the attachment that comes in this box. So it's the Sunset Sea Brave, and I will leave that to you. The only sentence I want to say, what I really like about the attachment is the condition token removal, because I see so many, when I played against Greyjoy, what I really see happening when you deal out a lot of weaken through different sources, when you bring a weakened machine, what is really easy for let's say Martells, it's really easy. Or if you know I play against Greyjoy, you bring Alistair Thorne as a Night's Watch player. Just an example. You will throw out weakened tokens, so many of them, and they can't really get rid of it. So for me, that's a good attachment for the Greyjoy faction. So yeah, I like it. In general, I do not really know about the second effect he can trigger. Highest attack die value. I don't know. I think it's not a problem for Greyjoys to have that, or to gain that through different sources or otherwise. So yeah, again, good condition token removal is highly needed for the faction, and I like it about this attachment. Yeah,
no, condition token removal is I think the main reason you would bring this card. And you trigger the 1+ or 2+, or the 1+ or 2 ability on a melee attack. So you're generally gonna, like you said, want to use it to clear a weakened token before you attack. And that's also gonna, let's say you take a weakened token off with this, that's gonna also increase your ability to generate more pillage, because let's say you're throwing 7 dice and you hit 5 of those dice, and then you have to reroll, and now you only hit 2 of them or 3 of them. So this will increase your ability to generate pillage, which will then feed this card again. And it's each time a friendly unit in short range gains a pillage token. So it's your unit also. So your unit, and then any unit near you gets. And there's also no limit to the ordered tokens you can put on it. So it doesn't say this unit can have up to 2 order tokens at a time. So you could have 5 or 6 order tokens on this thing at some point, potentially. And then whatever unit it's on is just going to be reliably clearing tokens off of itself, which is awesome. It's only 1 point, which is great. Also, the text on this does not make it clear to me whether the divide the spoils order can trigger it. So it says each time a friendly unit in short range gains a pillage token. So this kind of goes to what does gain mean? Does gain mean it gains it by any means, or earns a pillage token naturally? So there's kind of going to probably be some speculation there until that gets cleared up, whether divide the spoils triggers it. Because if divide the spoils triggers it, then potentially this can kind of double dip on pillage token generation for its orders. But yeah, like you said, this is the most exciting part of the Stony Shore Pillagers box for me. The condition token removal, because if you get this on your unit that you want to be killing things, then you could pretty reliably be clearing off weakened tokens when you attack, and that's huge. You know, you put them on in a silence men unit. Silence men are the hotness right now in Greyjoys. You put this on silence men, and they're probably not going to be weakened very much in the game. And Yeah, no, I mean this is an awesome attachment. It's only 1 point. If it was 2 points, I'd be kind of iffy about it, but I think I would definitely look to put this on a unit in my army.
Yeah.
So I really like this attachment personally.
Yeah. Great. So that's on Greyjoys. Let's go over the wall and look at the Giant Spear Thrower. The Giant Spear Thrower, 7 points. Yeah, a long range unit. So kind of similar to the Scorpion Builder Crew, but in many parts different. I think this unit performs really well on 5 objective game modes, because you can just park him on your side, on one of the side objective tokens, throw in the middle with such high potential to deal damage with Vicious and Sundering, right? So that's really cause some or that will cause some trouble, and especially again, like the Builder Scorpion crew, Cav monsters and war machines, even more vulnerable to them. And surprisingly, they still do wounds, while the Scorpion Builder crew only does hits now after the Season 3 update. So, but still, I think they have their place, especially in Mac lists. And and the most will come out of 5 objective game modes, and particularly Honed and Ready. So I see it in armies, and I like the design. I like the artwork. What are your thoughts?
I think they're cool. So Free Folk, I used to own a Free Folk army, and I played it twice. Both times played the mag Free Folk list, and then I sold it because this was in the era of Mance, and I just felt dirty playing Mance. So the only time I ever played my Free Folk was when I ran mag. I think one of my 2 games is actually on my channel as a battle report, one of my early battle reports. But anything that benefits the monster list, I think, is just great. And these guys they look pretty cool. I think they're in a monster list. I think I don't know if I would say they're an auto include, but they're definitely close to an auto include.
They're up there.
They're up there. Like you said,
Definitely.
they're kind of like a walking Scorpion. Unlike the Scorpions, they don't have the kind of 360 no scope ability to throw spears, every direction. So and a solo tray has a kind of a narrow field of fire. So you're going to have to position them the way you want them. But they have a 5 movement speed, so you can move them around quite a bit to where you need them. And then, like you said, they have the old
Scorpion control objective.
Yeah, they can control objectives. Yeah, they have that. They have the old Scorpion wound rule. They don't have 2 hits they don't have they do the wounds versus hits. They're not going to be as effective throwing into infantry units, because they're only going to be doing three hits, basically. They're not even going to do wounds. They're going to do 3 sundering hits with Vicious. But
with Vicious,
but again, like you said, if they can throw from one objective to another objective, they could possibly make somebody drop an objective token. They are vicious, so if they throw a spear into somebody and they're carrying around a token, they can make them drop that token, which is good. But yeah, I think these guys are great for monster lists. I don't know do you see them in anything other than monster lists? Do you see them in, like your Styre kind of lists or anything like that? Or
not really for now. I don't know. For now, when I see them, I played around with it a little bit. And for now I only see it in Mac lists. But especially through like stuff like the tactics card, Chieftain's orders, you can let them attack even more. So that could be good. What I also see on those guys with the 3 dice on the ranged attack, we will cover that in one of our on the Night's Watch video when we talk about the Builder Scorpion crew. Same thing, right? They got increased also to 3 points, long range, 3+. So in early game now with 3 dice, you could take chances, right? You can say, okay,
Yeah.
I hit on 6, I do the 3 and deal out and him especially, right? With the wounds, direct wounds, could be a thing early game. And I like that, right?
Yeah.
So we will see it at some point that someone says, whatever, they're in a good position. I don't really need to move. Right? They can just stand there and I will just take my chances on a 6.
Yeah, if I'm
So
playing Targaryens and I have a dragon on the backfield, and
you don't like that.
In round 1 you chuck a spear across the field, and let's say you hit 1, you get 1 hit on it, and you just did 2 wounds
3
to my
wounds?
dragon. Yeah, or what? 2 wounds, right?
Or
For
2?
each hit. Let's say you only hit 1, you get 1/6, and you do
Yeah.
2 wounds to my dragon
Yeah.
in round
Yeah.
1. That makes me a little scared, because dragons are fragile.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a specific case I'm talking about dragons, but I mean any kind of solo trade unit you're throwing this,
Jorah.
you're doing a Hail Mary at early in the game it's gonna be scary. So yeah, no, I think they're a cool unit. I'm looking forward to seeing what people do with them.
Yeah, likewise. All right, so last one. To be honest, one of the units I'm most excited about, the Baratheon Halberdiers, can be used by both Stannis and Renly's side. Taunt built in, Halberd with Sundering, as we know it from Halberds. So the first thing you see on this unit is 3 defense, 5 movement. I think that's the biggest thing in this 6-point unit, and that's what I really like about it is if you put those guys in the middle, push them up quickly, which is a problem mostly for Baratheon players to be quickly on a token. So a lot of Baratheon players I see are not taking letters on the first turn. Sometimes they take the horse, right, to get some movement out of them. I mean, it depends on the list, but those guys in the middle with some stakes or a wall or whatever on the middle token, you push them up there. They will deal out condition tokens like crazy, right? Because you don't want to charge them. You really don't, especially with stakes. You don't want that. So yeah, so that's how I see them. I definitely see where their place is. I like the design. They have no way to deal passive. Is it passive damage, like set the charge or like hold the line or whatever?
Yeah, but they don't have any. They don't have any kind of taunt, any kind of defensive.
Defensive
synergy with taunt.
Exactly. But still, that's what I said. Pushing up the middle, dealing out tokens. That's their thing, and I really see that happening with those guys in the future.
Yeah, I think no matter what they were, unless they were just terrible, they're a loyalty agnostic unit. Baratheons have not had a loyalty agnostic unit since the launch of the faction, I think, because there was just the Wardens, Sentinels, and Stag Knights in the box, and then the Champions of the Stag. So that's only 4 units that were loyalty agnostic. So I've said like in the Discord, I think that no matter what people say about this unit, every Baratheon player is going to probably buy 2 boxes of them. So these, I think, will be a bestseller unit, because everybody that plays Baratheon is going to want at least one of them, probably 2 of them if they paint their units, because they're going to want to paint one like Renly and one like Stannis. I don't like that they're a 6-point unit that hits on 4+. That's not great, but they are a beefy tanky unit. They're the same defensive stats as a Warden. They don't have counter strike, but they move 5 speeds, so there's something that can get up there and contest an objective early, not like the rest of Baratheon that has to just waddle its way up or has to get the maneuver zone to get up and jump on an objective. And once they hop on an objective, they're going to be okay hammering it out with an enemy unit, especially if you put an attachment in them that maybe benefits them. Sundering is the best attack keyword in the game. So they're Sundering on a 7/7/4 dice profile. 4+ doesn't feel great, but they're going to be hard to kill. What do you think, Chris, about attachments? I know we had a little offline chat about attachments,
Yeah.
but these guys would definitely benefit, I think, from a good commander attachment, or a good maybe 1 point attachment, or 2 points if you really want to get crazy with it.
Yeah. I mostly see 1 point attachment on the Randall side. What really is my key attachment is, I mean, it's an old move, but still, if you take the Thornwatch Sentinel into them, Dauntless and Pathfinder, and you have the stakes I talked about, you push them up. They're sitting on the stakes again, dealing out tokens, and if someone charges them, they have to deal with the stakes first. They then have to deal with this tanky unit, which is Dauntless, right? And is hitting, with decent attack profile with Sundering 7/4. I mean, they can deal damage. So that's my key attachment I would take on the Randall side. On the other side, and I saw that in several discords, is Brian Ferring on the center side through because of True Conviction. True Conviction gives you the rerolls if you're attacking enemies with more remaining ranks. So that is a thing for them. They will really benefit from True Conviction. So that will be my key attachment on the Stannis side. But there will be other, but those are the ones I was thinking about when I saw the unit. And those combos will definitely see play.
Yeah, I think also Master Warden is good in them. So giving them hold the line gives them something to do once they've taunted somebody into them. Yeah, you taunt something into them, and then when you activate, you can do extra hits to that unit. So I think a Master Warden is great at 1 point. Brienne, Battlescar Brienne, if you're playing the Renly side, would be okay.
Or Parman Crane, maybe. Parman Crane with Relic Cry. Same again, right? You first. So it would be 2 ways, right? If you're not attacking it, it's only 1 point. If you're not attacking it, you will deal out token. If you're attacking it and they will hit back, you will potentially heal 2 somewhere else. Together with on the Renly side with Rose Knights and Deadly Bloom around you, could also deal attrition damage and keeps your army alive. So Parman Crane might be also a thing.
I think that covers it for attachments. I mean, if you really wanted to get crazy, you could put a Stag Knight Noble in them. Well, I mean, I guess he's not even 2 points anymore. He's only 1 point because they took.
No, it's only 1 point. Right? Yeah, it's only 1 point. Yeah, valid.
So you can make them. Make them beefier with the Stag Knight Noble. I mean, I like them. It's not a terrible, like, at the bottom line, it's loyalty agnostic and it's not terrible. So they're gonna sell like hotcakes and they're gonna see play. So and Baratheon needs a little bit of help right now. They're not doing great. So I'm excited to see what people do with them. I like them.
Yeah, cool. So that basically covers all the reveals. Today is the day where we got another reveal. We got a Song of Ice and Fire Tactics, a skirmish game, which will hit Kickstarter pretty soon, I think. When they reveal it now, it should be on Kickstarter soon. Whenever 1 year, 1.5 from now, we might receive it. Let's see what it can do in terms of what we can use from tactics into song. We will see. Obviously everyone is pretty hyped about it because of the new units we saw and stuff. But let's see. I'm pretty open for it, as long as the developers keep both games alive and can support it the way they did. Because a lot of people that I talk with, I get not tired on telling this game is so great because it gets like continuous support and development. So I really like it, and I hope this does not take away anything from it. And if it doesn't, I'm hyped about it. So
I don't think it's going to detract from the main game, because if the developers who work on this game work on a lot of other CMON games, and if they can pump out 4 or 5 Zombicide Kickstarters every year and also develop this game, then I'm not too worried about them developing this game alongside Song of Ice and Fire. And maybe we can have another conversation dedicated to the tactics game, maybe soon. But let's see. I'm not a huge skirmish game fan. I'm open to them. But more Song of Ice and Fire is good as far as I'm concerned.
Always good.
And if there's
True.
some cross pollination between people who play that game and people who play this game, if it brings some players both ways, then I'm happy. I also need to start looking into refinancing my home to afford that dragon sculpture that I'm sure will cost an extra $300 as an add-on in the Kickstarter or something.
I bet, yeah.
I'll have to talk to my my personal accountant to figure out if I can afford that, or if I need to sell the fillings out of my teeth to afford that. And we'll see.
Yeah. All right. So that's for it today. So watch out for the other videos Randall and I will launch soon on the season 3 update. And yeah, for now, we are signing off and rolling those crits, right? And we see you soon.
All right. See you.